Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
This is the digital asset investor, and there's been a little bit of controversy in the crypto community and the XRP community lately about coverage of stories and different things. There's part of what we've got is we've got a lot of new websites and different sources of cryptocurrency information and news that's coming about, and because there are a lot of new sources. This would be like back when the internet first started, when the Drudge Report started. When there's new internet sources like that, it's kind of hard to wade through who's just making up a story and who's not. And so I wanted to make a point before I cover this story, and I wanted to let you know that I try to make sure I'm reading you something from a legitimate source, but there's not ever any 100% foolproof way to know. So all I can do is look at who wrote the story, look at the site that's on it, and give you the disclaimer that if there's an anonymous source, because it's an anonymous source does not make it illegitimate. And what you're seeing on the page right now, one of the greatest stories in the history of news, Watergate, was provided from an anonymous source named Deep Throat. There have been movies made about Deep Throat. And so because it's an anonymous source does not make it an illegitimate piece of news, as long as the person that's covering the news is doing their best to give you the proper disclaimers like I'm giving you right now. So moving along, and I wanted to give some credit here. Johnny Frank Widener sent me this on Twitter, and so he's active in the XRP community. He only has 48 followers, so go give him some followers if you would. I try to follow as many people as I can in this because I don't ever know who's going to wake up early and be the early bird that sends me a piece of news that I would like to talk about. And so I want to thank Johnny. He is at JWIDNER210. And I wanted to thank him for sending me this. All right. This is a pretty huge piece of news as far as I'm concerned. And so I wanted to read you a couple of excerpts from this. Basically, this is an article saying it's Nasdaq and Ripple. Executives at Ripple find match made in heaven in Nasdaq exchange initiative. But before I read it, I want to tell you it's from the Abacus Journal, and the writer of this is on Twitter. He calls himself Rogue Trader, and I went through a lot of his tweets. I mean, just looking at his tweets, he doesn't look like a dumb person, and so he's at Rogue Abacus if you want to ask him any questions, or you want to ask him who the source is, or ask him if he has any information that would prove that this is legitimate. But I'm going to cover it because I find it interesting, and so I think that I've covered the bases enough on that. So, as you know, Nasdaq is planning to get in the game in 2019 from what I've heard, and so when they do get into the crypto game, of course, we would love it more than anything for them to list XRP, which would be monstrous. So I'm going to read you a couple of things from this article. We've been chasing this is from Abacus Journal. We have been chasing this particular story for a month and finally have enough sources on background to print the growing relationship between Ripple and Nasdaq executives. The back and forth has been ongoing for better than 4 months, and XRP is set to be one of the initial coins listed when Nasdaq launches its crypto initiative in early 2019. One source at Nasdaq had this to say, quote, "We aren't interested in the noise. We are interested in scale. If we start this initiative with the top 5 or 7 security coins by market capitalization, why would we exclude XRP? There's no good reason to exclude them. At least the way that we are evaluating our work, look at it this way. There's just as much noise around Bitcoin Cash as there ever has or ever will be around Ripple's cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin Cash is listed almost ubiquitously across all exchanges. So we see no reason to exclude XRP. Instead, we've leaned in and embraced what they bring to the table. You really can't argue that the firm has a top-notch executive team and is as buttoned up as you will find in crypto. That's the point that I've been making all this time. Then it says a second source at Nasdaq further developed the market cap thesis. Market cap is just about everything here. Ripple and XRP could be the second largest crypto at any moment. So the decision to include them in our initial offerings is an absolute no-brainer. Easy to do based on the firm's management team and their continued execution within the banking sector. And we've largely eschewed the security token debate. And then they say market cap is what plays for us as we develop these solutions. Ripple checks that box and then some. Not to mention, they've been extremely forthcoming from a due diligence standpoint and made several different members of their management team available to us at a moment's notice. Adding to the scale of their coin makes it an easy decision at launch. A conversation with a Ripple employee confirmed their Nasdaq discussions. Quote, yes, we've been in discussions with Nasdaq around their exchange initiative and have been willing to answer any and all due diligence questions. We believe what we are doing here, our products and our services and XRP as well. Nasdaq will ultimately be the final arbiter of who gets listed next year, but we believe we will be firmly in that group. Without giving too much away, the excitement around here for where this is headed is pretty fun to watch. The Nasdaq exchange and custody product is going to be something special. So that is pretty much this article. So I wanted to move along. This is an article from today. Santa Claus rally, why Bitcoin is primed for a Christmas surprise. And what they were talking about is how they didn't talk about XRP, but they were talking about how we've seen crypto come alive in the last few days. Bitcoin Cash is what they mentioned, but what I'm sure they're thinking also is XRP has taken off. And this is what Maddie Greenspan, senior market analyst at eToro, it says he's been watching for a Bitcoin breakout for some time now, and he said in the market commentary made available to CCN that there are early indications that cryptocurrencies will see a Santa Claus rally heading into the new year. In any case, and he's referencing here the Bitcoin Cash going kind of heading into a fork. The Bitcoin Cash has been really rising in price. He says in any case, and what he's referring to is how one spark could light a fire. He says in any case, the fire doesn't usually care where the spark came from. Upward momentum has a way of snowballing in financial markets, no matter what the drivers of that momentum may have originally been. And as the digital asset investor has told you, and I've actually done a video on this in the last few weeks, in the last 5 years, that period from late October until January 1, there has been a rally in crypto every single one of the last 5 years. That time period, somewhere in that time period, it's happened, and it's happened pretty big. And so it's an exciting time of the year right now. And the spark that we just saw, what they referred to as a spark in Bitcoin Cash, it also just happened in XRP. So look out. I want to show you two more things, and then I'll let you go. The first is this article from the Daily Hodl. Those of you that have not seen this, you need to go look at it. The ripple effect. Developers bring XRP to Amazon Alexa. If you want to see how XRP is about to change the world, look at what these smart developers. I've told you about Wheatswind on Twitter. Go follow him if you don't already. But these developers, Wheatswind and some of his developer buddies, are beginning to work. Now they're working at tipping from Amazon Alexa. And this guy actually demonstrates how he does it in this video. Go to @XRPTrump, and he's got it in his Twitter feed. This is amazing. I watched him tip someone on through Amazon Alexa. Really exciting times. And now I want to take you to something that I saw on Twitter. Technology that's thousands of years old can be applied to the internet that's less than 30 years old. It's always inheritable. This would be disrupted. This is from Milton Friedman he was like an economist back a long time ago. I think the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing but that will soon be developed is a reliable e-cash. Milton Friedman. I think that's pretty cool. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that there could be a Santa Claus rally coming. Thanks for listening.